Hey, what's going on, guys? It's JD Headstrong. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a few different kinds of new boat pullers. You might remember my last video where I showed off a couple. I've got a couple new ones, and one that I think is the new smallest one you're able to build. I'm not entirely sure, but it's pretty cool. So if you watched my last video, you probably remember this one. It's a pretty simple boat puller, but it does its job really well, and I was pretty proud of it. That is until some people made smaller versions. The YouTuber DeeFeeCee made a smaller version. I'll be putting his video in the description of this one, which made me think, oh, great. Now I got to make a smaller one than him. Okay, so what I did was I started working on a 2x2x2, and I came up with this. It's a pretty small version, and I'll explain how to build it here in a second, but before I do, I want to tell you something else. I asked him what size his was. It was a 2x2x2. So it turned out to be exactly the same size, which, yes, they're different designs, but given that they were the same size, I became just a little bit disappointed. This is a 2x2x2 one, as I said, and it's pretty cool. Basically how it works is the boats are stuck halfway inside the piston and halfway inside a honey block. Yeah, you need the blocks up top here, or the boats will pop out on reload. They're completely safe right now. They're not going to pop out. I've tried a lot of times. They can be nudged around just a little bit without you having to worry about it breaking. I haven't had any issues with that. The only time it's broken is when a sheep got inside, but that's as to be expected. So this is a pretty nice design, but again, not the smallest one there is. So I then proceeded to experiment just a little bit with building them upside down, another thing done by DeeFeeCee, and I think he was the first one to build one. His design was a little bit larger than this one, so I decided to take some time and try to design one. This one's 3 blocks tall, 2 blocks long, and 1 block wide. It does its job pretty well, and I'm pretty sure you could nudge these boats farther in without it breaking it. I just keep them there because this is how it's worked for me. Pretty much you just flip the lever, and as with the other boat pullers, it will move you up. Again, pretty inexpensive and pretty cool. Just a pretty simple one to build. So, after watching DeeFeeCee's video about how he made his 2x2x2 work, he put a trapdoor here, in this block space right here, next to the piston. And I was like, oh, well, that takes out the need for a front block like the one I have. What I ended up doing with that was building this version, where it's only 1 block wide, because it doesn't need to be any more than that, 2 blocks long, and 1 block tall. 2 blocks tall, sorry. This version had a honey block, but I don't think that's necessary. I've been testing it like this, and it seems to work just fine. Now, I've noticed something weird. This might have just been something I overlooked, but this thing can pull me when I'm over here, not even in front of the piston face, and I get pulled toward it. I might have overlooked that initially, or maybe that's something unique to this design. I mean, these couple designs, because it works with these ones back here as well. But that means that you can just put a whole bunch of these next to each other, and just have an entire line, like this line right here, be pulled that way. You could move items from over here all the way over to here without having to use any sort of water or hoppers. Very strange, and I'm very happy it works. I'm going to show you how to build this here in just a second, but first I'm going to show you how to build a couple of the previous designs, just in case you want to try to build those. They work pretty well. They work pretty well. They're not as small, but none of these break on reload. I've tested these a lot, and I've had no issues with them whatsoever. Now, one issue is these boats can be nudged out of the way, but it's not that much of an issue. When you fire the system and you get pulled by the piston, you'll notice that the boats shift backward a little bit, and that might initially seem like a concern, but when you fire the system, they get pushed back toward the front of the piston. It's not really an issue. It kind of fixes itself. But yeah, I'm going to show you how to build the original version I have over there, which is this version right here, and the upside down version. Then I'll show you how to build the new one, because yeah, this is the one I've been experimenting with the most. All 3 of them work, but that one over there, the 1 block wide one, is, I'm pretty sure, the new smallest. I'm not entirely sure. If anybody has seen a smaller one or has a smaller one, let me know. I'd definitely be interested to hear that. But yeah, I'm going to start by showing you how to build this one over here. So to build the first design, the one that uses a honey block inside the boats, pretty much you're just going to place 2 blocks right there, a piston facing forward, a block in front and beside the piston, like right over here, and a block right there. 1 block down here as well. These are both temporary blocks These two right here are temporary blocks. They're going to get removed here in a minute. Put a block there, and then put 2 boats right there. Sorry, no. Then you just nudge the boats sideways so they lean up against there, preferably farther to the left. It doesn't really matter, but I just prefer to have it that way, just in case. It's less likely to be ejected from the piston if it's more inside the honey block. Then put a honey block above it like I did right there, and put a downward facing piston. It can be a regular piston. I'm just using a sticky piston because I have it in my inventory. Fire that, break the piston, and put a block on top. And there you go. It's done. It'll work now, and it drags blocks from, from all of these locations right here. I can be standing here, and this thing will pull me. Scratch, yeah, see right there. It's actually here. Sorry, I messed that up. I can be standing here, and it'll pull me forward. I can be standing here, and it'll pull me forward. Either one works. I normally have another block there just to make sure they don't get sent upward. They shouldn't. But it's just to be safe, you should put it there. It doesn't really increase the dimensions of it. It's still a 2x2x2. But it keeps it just a little bit safer. Next, I'm going to be showing you the one that works upside down. This one, you have to remember, is 3 blocks tall, 2 blocks long, and 1 block wide. So basically, you're just going to start by placing a piston downward like that. It can be a standard piston or a sticky piston. I prefer to use a sticky piston. Place a slab right there. And place a couple of blocks in that area. Again, these are just temporary blocks. They're just necessary for getting the boats in place. Tap the corner where they connect. And now the boats are in place. You can just nudge them in just a little bit. And nudge them that way if possible. So they're in like that. Then you need to place a honey block. Go up by 2 blocks. Place the sticky piston facing downward. If I can get out of the boat, which I might have to replace. Yeah, I've got to replace the boat, but you just push the honey block downward into them. I'll replace the boat. Give me just 1 second. There we go. Boat's in place. No issue. Then you just push the honey block down inside the boats. Again, nudge them just a little bit farther in, and put a slab over top of the honey. And that should be it functioning. Now all you need to do is power this piston, and you should get pulled upward if you don't break the boats like me. Now I'm just going to quickly replace the boats again because I'm an idiot. There we go. The boats are back in place. I just put a block here so I can power it without having to worry about breaking them. But then you just power it, and it'll drag you upward. Again, this block right here is not necessary. I just didn't want to have to replace the boats a 3rd time because I've broken it way more times than I can even explain in the process of testing that one over there and this one. And then I'm going to show you how to build the smallest one. Again, these two are pretty much the same thing. The only difference is this one over here uses honey, which is pretty much just a waste of honey. It turns out it works with a standard solid block. You really don't need the honey. So you're going to again start by placing a piston facing forward right there, placing a block right there, turning around this way, and placing a trapdoor right there. This is actually required. It keeps the boats from flying out this direction. Now, before I go any farther with this, I'm going to straight up say, I wouldn't have even thought of this. This is DeeFeeCee. When he made the version that was smaller than my original one, used a lot of trapdoors in situations like this. I would not have thought of this at all. He's an amazing guy. Go check him out if you haven't already. Because this is really excellent. The next step is going to be placing these blocks, again, temporary blocks, right there. And placing the boats inside like so. Then you just kind of nudge them in. It doesn't really matter to where, about there works. And then you just place a solid block on top of that piston. It doesn't have to be just a standard solid block. I haven't tested it too many times with transparent blocks. But again, it could be honey if you wanted it to be. It doesn't really matter. Place the lever, and it will move you. Now, as I said before, occasionally these boats will get moved backward when the player is pushed into them. But when you flick the lever, they autocorrect. It's not an issue. Yes, something could nudge them out sideways, but again, that can be dealt with by placing another one right next to it, or if you really wanted to, placing some blocks around it like so. I'm not too concerned about that. I think this is an excellent design, really, because now, if you wanted to, we could replace this line right here with hoppers, and any items that landed on these 2 blocks would get pulled into that. So you build this thing again right next to it, and another one right next to that, and this entire line right here would just have the items from these blocks pulled into it. That would be incredible. It would be a new way of moving items. I'm thus far loving these boat pullers. This is a pretty neat design. Again, inspired by DeeFeeCee and his design. But this one, again, I think it's the smallest version we have yet, and I'm very happy with it. So yeah, that's about what these builds are. I'm pretty happy with them all. I'm pretty happy to see how they're going to be shaping up in the future, how they're going to be able to be used. And thank you for watching. If you guys liked the video, remember to leave a like, and if you really liked it, make sure to subscribe. If you have any things like this that you'd like to show me, or similar versions, maybe smaller ones that you want to let me know about them in the comments. I'm going to be down there responding to anyone who comes up with anything like this for the next little bit. Yeah, I'm definitely hyped about these boat pullers and would love to see more people get into them and discover new versions. But with that out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya!